Existence Brewing.
Okay, Cosmic Kiddos, it's time for another Existence Brewing download.
It happened to me recently, and I feel like, the big U is telling me, get this out because people need to know this. And again, life works in mysterious ways, and I think it honestly is calibrated differently to different people. I'm not sure that there's not one driving formula that we all exist within and have to abide by the rules of, but I also feel like there's pockets of this, like I've forwarded the theory before, that maybe the Christian or the Muslim who truly believes that these particular things will happen in the wake of their physical demise will actually happen to them to a certain degree, because they have believed that, they have prepared for that, and that is something that this experience is prepared to give them, what it is that they expect, what it is that they want. But then there's also an overriding measure of, there's also this other thing that you have to account for. So maybe you get this, but only for a certain length of what we would call time. And then, the reincarnative aspect of existence, it takes over. Or maybe you're given the choice, like, okay, you wanted this, here it is. Now we're going to give you a way out. If you're tired of heaven, if you're bored with it, this static reality that you've created where everything is perfect, if this is boring you, here's the door and you can go do something else. They get what they want too. It's like, okay, here it is. We'll give it to you. Now, are you happy with it? Stick with it for a while. Let us know. And then we'll give you an out if you're done with it. So in the spirit of that, I'm not saying that this is an absolute, but it's just a concept that I walked into. All right. So this is what I wrote down, and I got chicken scratch going and I don't see too well anymore. So I'll do the best I can to not stumble. It is my understanding that in general terms, we have the concept of manifestation backwards. Whereas we typically believe manifesting is to conjure something into being in this space that was not already here, it is actually quite the opposite. We instead actually walk into something which has already existed. All we did was just create a path to get to it. And that was shown to me recently because I was mulling, if you will, contemplating in, the thought of manifesting. Maddie, my girlfriend, she's a real manifester. It is amazing to watch her because she's so good at manifesting things for herself that it is only when she stops focusing upon said manifesto, whatever it is that she wants to have happen in this space as this person, this persona that she's taken on in this human existence. It's only when she stops focusing on it so intently and actually just instinctively focuses on it that it absolutely becomes a reality. She has told me on many occasions that she manifested me. She manifested my presence in her life because she claims to have known me when I walked through the door and first saw her. She said, that's him. Like, that's the guy. And don't relegate it just to this, Lifetime movie, Hallmark Channel, fucking, oh, that's the man. There was that aspect to it, as she tells me, but there was also something vastly deeper. Walked into her life. It's that whole thing, where have you been all my life? Well, I've been right here, but you paved the path to me, even though it was me that quite literally in the story walked through the door and saw her sitting at work where we used to work together for the first time because I had to drop off my paperwork to go to work there. But go to what it is that you desire that already exists rather than continuing to futilely try to bring it into this space where it doesn't belong, because this isn't where it exists. Where it exists is where you want to be, so you go there, not the other way around. Does that make sense?
It kind of reminds me of a quote by the famous sculptor Michelangelo that I remember from Renaissance art history. He described the subject as being trapped inside the marble, and he said, I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free.
Right. Perfect. Love it. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. There was no manifesting of the angel. The angel was already there, hewn inside of the rock. It's not perfect. Love it, Michelangelo. Instead of you carved him, I did this, I brought it into being, it's already there. And ask any artist, ask any of the great composers, ask any of the great artists like Michelangelo, the great painters, they will all tell you the same thing. All of those things were already sitting there. All I did was just go to them and bring them into essentially this space by going to them. They were already in existence. I didn't create them. Something else created them. I just got us to the point where we all lived in a space where they were a part of reality. And maybe it has to do with this. And now we're getting into, and I love how, philosophy and even theology to a degree, because it intertwines so much. But I love how all of that really can marry with science. We try to create this zone between them, this demilitarized zone, this rive where they're always clashing. There's never supposed to be this marriage of science and religion, as we would say, or theology, or even philosophy in so many ways. And yet, of course, it's intertwined because everything is. And so I love how that also bleeds over into the theories that we have about the multiverse and about how all of the decisions that each of us make and every little single flutter of, the old butterfly effect, all of that literally creates a different reality all to itself every single what we would call moment of every single living second that we're here, or that anybody or anything is here. And so therefore, there's not just a few different parallel universes or parallel dimensions that we can follow. The little flit of an insect creating its own world that we would go along with, or that exists in the same space, it's mind-boggling. And yet that's how many different realities there are for us to occupy. So when we actually do what we call manifesting our goals, you went to the space where this was your reality. And if we can start looking at it through that lens, we're all going to get a hell of a lot further in this equation. And that's part of what we're here for, is to understand some of the mechanics of how this works so we can bring about that better world that we all want for ourselves. But it's individual, just the same time as it is collective.
We hope this download brewed up something for your existence. To find more, and for full episodes of Existence Brewing, check out the podcasts at existencebrewing.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts online.
Existence Brewing.